Hello, and welcome to the Bear Me Alive podcast.
I'm your host, Technicality.
And I'm your host, Ghostly. I don't know why I sang my name there. That was funny. Alright, how you doing today, Cal?
I'm doing well. I'm a bit sick again, but it's mostly just congestion.
Gosh. Every time. At least you're not tired.
Yeah, that's a positive.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's less sick and more just something's in the air right now that's making my nose drain, so I sound a little bit funny.
It is spring and a bunch of the flowers are blooming here right now. It's pretty. I found a daffodil in full bloom the other day, which is really weird because those don't typically bloom until March. But things are blooming early. R.I.P. Technicality, suffering from allergies. What are we talking about?
Today, we are talking about the Flatwoods Monster, also known as the Phantom of Flatwood, Braxton County Monster, or just the Green Monster.
Isn't that the one who wears, the pretty dress?
Oh, yeah, sort of.
Yeah. I know that one. There's a comic called Cryptid Club. Highly recommend checking it out. And it's comedy comics with cryptids in it. And there's one with a Flatwoods Monster. And someone's like, "Hey, I like your dress." And she comes out from behind a tree and she goes, "Thanks, it has pockets."
Hey, we love
beautiful.
dresses with pockets.
I know. I remember how excited you got when you showed me that your Drindle had pockets.
Yeah.
I remember.
I just found that the Dirndl had pockets that day.
Yeah.
It was great.
Haven't you had that since you were, young?
No, I got a new one last summer.
Oh, that's right. Right. But back to the monster. Enough about Technicality's amazing dress.
So, as you said, it appeared to be wearing a dress-like thing made of some kind of dark metal and a hood resembling a spade, as in the card, made of the same metal. It's said to be Frankenstein-like, with two large bright orange or red glowing eyes, a blood red body with a glowing green face. I think the glowing of the face was just from the eyes, but who knows? Claw-like arms.
What?
Yeah.
Wait. Question. So, it has glowing red eyes, but a glowing green face. Those colors cancel each other out, especially with light.
Different circumstances. This is from multiple reports of how the monster looks from different articles. So, there's some contradictions. Also, it generally sounds one of our more unique-looking cryptids. It's also said to be 7, 13, or 17 feet tall, but the original report that's most common has it at 10 feet.
Again, who's measuring these cryptids?
I'm not sure.
Our listeners.
Yeah.
I guess, okay, I realized something the other day as I was laying in my bed at 1 a.m. If someone knows their height and they can tell if the cryptid is shorter or taller than them, they can use that as a size reference. So if someone saw the Flatwoods Monster, they were 6 foot, and the monster was taller than them, they could be like, "Oh, they're about 10 feet." I just realized that yesterday.
I'm gonna be honest, the way I measure things without a measuring tape is just I imagine myself lying on the floor and then copy that in my head. Because I know I'm 5'9", so...
No, you're not. You're not 5'9".
I am. I'm 5'8" and a half. It's basically 5'9".
You're taller. No, you're taller than that. Because I refuse to say I'm short. No, but back on topic.
Yeah, back on topic. So, the first sighting of it recorded was... Well, this isn't the first sighting recorded. This is the first sighting that happened. These people stepped forward after the first recorded sighting. So let's reputable, but I just thought I'd put this first as it was, if they're to believe, the first sighting of this monster. A mother and her 21-year-old daughter saw the Flatwoods monster, and it had a strong metallic smell that irritated their nose and eyes, and the daughter was admitted to the hospital for weeks afterwards.
What the heck? From the metal? Why was she admitted?
That's something that wasn't stated.
Is there any hospital records?
Not that I could find, no. But that was apparently the first sighting.
Dang. Where and when was this?
This was a week before the recorded sighting. The, first recorded one. In Braxton County, West Virginia.
Oh, West Virginia. For some reason, that just makes sense.
So, the first recorded encounter was on September 12th, 1952, by a mom, 6 kids, not all of them being hers, just friends of her children, and a dog.
Aw, I like dogs.
Yeah. 3 of the kids, 2 brothers, Ed and Freddie May, and their friend Tommy Heyer, were playing when they saw a red streak come down into a nearby ranch owned by G. Bailey Fishers. They went to get Miss Hay and a few other boys, Neen Nunley, Ronnie Shaver, and 17-year-old National Guard member Gene Lemon.
I don't know if you said, what year was this?
1952.
Yeah, people had weird names in the 1950s. Those names are whack, man. Like, I can understand if it's a family name, but also pick better names for your kids than Tommy, Ed, and Freddie.
Lemon's a cool name, though.
What was the name?
Gene Lemon.
But their first name's Gene.
Fair enough.
Like, that's a red flag.
Sorry to any Genes
Lemon
out
is a
there.
cool name, though. Sorry. We insult a lot of people's names on this show, I've realized.
But we don't mean it.
Especially
Or
John's.
if we...
Especially
John
John's.
deserves to be insulted.
Cow, last week's episode was about a podcast created by someone named John.
I'm not insulting that person, I'm insulting the name. It's the most common name in the U.S. Like, if you read history books, there are so many Johns that...
I know. We've talked about this so many times. On recording and off. It's so annoying. It's so bad. And no offense to current Johns, but going forward, like, a middle name is fine if it's John. But first name, no first name Johns.
We cannot have a bunch of people with the same name. It just gets confusing.
That's the real reason people call people by their last names instead of their first names in history books, is because they're all just John. Alright, back on topic again.
Yeah, it's fine. This is what this podcast is for. They all went to investigate the light led by Lemon. They went up a quarter-mile hill and saw a pulsating fireball to the right, and the same odor mentioned earlier. Then they saw 2 glowing eyes in a tree nearby before it came fully into view. And though it turned towards the red fire, you can see why the group ran away. Some of the people involved felt sick for days after, with symptoms like vomiting, nausea, and a sore throat, though it was passed off by doctors as caused by hysteria.
I want to just say something slightly off topic, and then I'll make something actually important. When you said Lemon led them to that, I'm an Adventure Time fan, and I just imagined Lemon Grab running full force towards a cryptid, screaming, "Unacceptable!" And it was the funniest thing in my head. I will say it's interesting to me that both of these reports had people with illness after associated, because something that we've talked a lot about being a cryptid-based podcast is that oftentimes when there's a cryptid sighting or situation, after that, there's often, not always, but often paranormal activity linked to that, Was there any more information? Because this was a reported sighting. Was there any more information about the illness? You mentioned nausea. Was there any other side effects?
There was no other symptoms reported.
Interesting. Okay.
Something to also note, it was late evening and there was a meteor shower that night, so it could explain some of those things. There was also reported to be owls in the area, which could explain the eyes, but not the rest of it.
Yeah, because owls' eyes have that reflective quality. Like, you know when you take a picture and sometimes the eyes reflect red?
Mm-hmm.
Owls have a very concentrated effect of that. I can't remember what it's called, but I did a whole study on owls when I was younger, and that was something that we talked about. So it's frequent that stuff like that happens, but, and some people have used that for justifications with the 20 million other cryptids that have glowing red eyes. However, all of those have actually been disproven because there aren't owls in that area. Like Mothman, people are trying to theorize it was an owl, which we talked a little bit about on our Mothman episode. Shameless plug, go listen to our Mothman episode. But it's interesting because this is the first time that I've heard actual owls in the area.
Something also interesting is that the area was searched by local authorities and they found nothing.
Ooh, spooky.
Dun, dun, dun. But something that does lend credence to the story is the brothers still stand by their stories, even though they're in their late 80s.
Interesting. Because well, how old were they again? You said they were teenagers?
I think the brothers were like early teens to kids, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So them sticking by it lends it more to not being some prank or made up thing. It's a lot more of a solid story if they're still sticking by it.
Yeah.
Also, fun little thing, the Flatwoods Monster glides and it hisses.
It hisses?
And it levitates.
It just sounds like me on a Friday night. Floating around town, hissing at people. No, hissing. That's a new one.
Wait, but we don't exist on Fridays.
Friday night.
Oh, okay.
No, but that's a new sound for cryptids to make. Because typically, when we talk about cryptids, what's the most common sound that they make? Screeching and wailing. Remember, we've had so many that have like mournful cries, which is really depressing. They just want to be seen and validated. Cryptids, you're valid.
Unless you murder people.
Unless
or
you
terrorists.
murder people. We're looking at you, Lake Worth monster. But yeah, that one is a new sound because I'm used to them like screeching and wailing, and then like Mothman was reported to make moth sounds. And Sasquatch, he had some like funky little bear roars going on there, but hissing is a new one. That's an interesting one too. I can imagine someone walking through the woods at night and hearing a hissing and thinking it's like psst, psst, hey kid, let me kill ya. That's just all I imagine.
Though, to be fair, it was claimed to be an alien, so.
I wonder, this to me sounds more like a ghost.
Honestly, it probably could be.
I have theories, but I want to hear if you have any more
go ahead.
stuff. But I have some theories. All right. Buckle up, buckaroos. So, oftentimes with ghosts and spooks, they like to kind of carry an omen with them about whatever they had in their life. Okay, I have a slight theory. What if the Flatwoods Monster was a nurse during the bubonic plague? Stick with me. She was a nurse during a plague and died in a chemical explosion. That would explain the illness that she carries. It would explain her cool little dress with pockets. And oftentimes, especially with the bubonic plague, they had those cool headpieces and stuff that they would wear. Think like plague doctor masks. which could explain her cool little spade head. It would also explain why she makes people sick, and it would explain the metallic smell.
To be fair, she could have died somewhere and then moved to West Virginia, but it'd be an interesting place to move.
She could have unfinished business in West Virginia. She could be from West Virginia, died somewhere else, and then ended up back there. Typically, ghosts in Paranormal Activity, according to all the ghost hunting shows I watch, their place that they end up isn't necessarily just the place they die, is where they have unfinished business. So typically that's the place they die, but not always.
Fair enough.
Like, there was this one ghost who died. She was an ex-wife of some king, and then she got killed because she was executed. I don't remember what she did. I think she slept with some other guy. But she didn't die on the castle property, but she's seen at the castle, her ghost. It's because she has unfinished business there because of her a-hole of a husband.
Fair enough.
Do you have any more theories about this one?
I think your theory with the ghost is very cool.
I mean, I am a ghost, so I like ghost theories.
I think the fact that it's made of metal mostly is something interesting to consider. It could be like some sort of experiment, which might be interesting to consider, especially with glowing eyes. With the common depictions of weird robot monsters. Unlikely, but it'd be a fun thing if it was.
Because a lot of cryptids are theorized to be like failed experiments. Was it the Poplick monster who was theorized to be a failed experience in a circus?
I believed so.
There's a monster we covered recently. Again, shameless plug, go listen to our other episodes. But we covered a monster recently about that, who had that kind of unfinished business. Interesting. You also mentioned that there's theories of her being an alien.
Yep.
I don't know why I'm assuming the monster's gender. But that could explain the green glowing skin. Because if you're an alien from space, color theory doesn't apply to you, apparently. It would also explain the weird, like, metal clothing. Because according to all the sci-fi movies I watch, I have such great references, don't I? According to sci-fi movies, like, even if we look at The Matrix or something, they wear these weird metal clothing, and that would explain, like, the spade-shaped head. Because it could be, like, a cool headpiece.
You could also have the fact that it's possible that it's not even clothing, that it's just a part of the monster. It could be a cyborg.
I like cyborgs. But then that would imply that they were once human.
No, it wouldn't. There can be alien cyborgs.
I guess. In my head, cyborg's a human X-robot combo. I guess it could be an alien. Are you the Flatwoods monster? Wait, I just realized a lot of this fits Cal's description. Have you been to West Virginia?
No.
Oh, well, there goes my theory. Okay, to be fair, you theorized that I was like 20 different cryptids. So I get to theorize that you are one.
But you also said you were going to take me into the woods and murder me. So you kind of did that for yourself.
You've also said that. On recording.
Yes, but you said it first.
You said
it louder. You said it in the very first episode.
You said it more.
Well, you said it first, so I win.
You said it more and louder, so I win.
I think that's all we have, unless you have any extra statements.
You're the one who does closing comment.
If you see an alien cyborg, you walk up to it, no matter the cost, and get a selfie, and you get its autograph, and you write a blog about it. You do not run away.
And email us.
Yes, email us. We will put you on the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Bury Me Alive podcast. As a reminder, I'm your host, Ghostly.
And I'm your host, Technicality.
Just listening is a huge support to us, and it's kind of crazy that people even listen to our show. So thank you for being here. If you want to support us, go ahead and interact with us. If you're listening on YouTube, like this video, comment, the typical stuff that people tell you to do. If you're listening on Spotify, interact with us through our Q&A polls, because we like hearing your thoughts, and rate us so that way we can get your feedback. We hope to hear and see you again sometime soon. And as a reminder, if you see a cryptid, you know what to do.
We are not liable for any deaths caused by interacting with cryptids. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.